7 common mistakes that we as dog parents very often do and how we can avoid them. Basically things that I wish I knew before I got my first dog. But that's how it is, isn't it? Life in general. We learn things. And humans, I think we humans aren't the most smart people sometimes, because why are we making the same mistakes all over again and again? So we all say we wish we knew that before, but if someone told us, then we would say we didn't need to know. Very typically teenaging, being a teenager. Everyone have been a teenager, so you know what it's like. And if you have children, you probably know how frustrating it is to tell your teenagers what they shouldn't do. But we all have to, you know, make our ways and do the experiences ourselves. And then sometime later, we'll realize that, oh, I should have done it, or I wish I knew. If you're new to Nordic Dog Trainer, my name is Lisbeth. I'm the founder of Nordic Dog Trainer. We are located in Norway, here in Scandinavia. Tonight, I originally wrote 7 common mistakes that we do. But when I was writing them down, I counted 10. I could go on, but I think 10 is more than enough for one evening to know 10 mistakes that we do. And I will also tell you what you should do instead, and how to avoid doing the mistakes. And I also want to say that these are also mistakes that I have made. It's not me telling you, you know, don't do this, don't do that. It's just very much also based on my own experience. I've had 15 dogs altogether as in my adult life. So I grew up with dogs as well, but then I wasn't the responsible person for the dog in the household. That was my parents, obviously. So I'm kind of counting it from when I was an adult and was responsible for the dogs. Let me find my document where I wrote down the 10 common mistakes that I'm going to talk about tonight. So there are no specific order for this. They're just, except the last one. That's the most important thing, according to myself. But let's start with number 1, which when I took my dog Wilma, I don't know if you can see her. She's sleeping in the chair behind me. We went for a walk today. And then I realized that it's so good that I know this, that I already did these mistakes and I now don't anymore. So the first one is, common mistake is when we want our dogs to come to us and for some reason they choose not to. So if we do a recall or whatever it is, if we want them to come to us and they don't, automatically we start walking towards the dog or even running after the dog. So now we are chasing the dog. Now, if you want your dog to come to you, the easiest way is to move in the opposite direction, because then your dog will follow you. So, of course, you have to train recall and all this, but I'm saying in general, and today was a perfect example of that, because I was walking in the woods, and it's, I don't know if there's a word for it or something in English, but I live in the woods, as you can see here. So I just walk outside my house straight into the woods. But it's part of the woods that they took down a lot of trees a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of tree branches and stuff laying all over the place. And some places there's just impossible for me to walk, and also for Wilma, but I let her choose. And now I have some issues with my leg, so I can't really lift my leg when I walk. It's very annoying, and it's very difficult. So I have to take care of where I am walking. So today I had to do a lot of detours. You know, I couldn't walk typical route I would walk when we went out earlier today. So then I wanted Wilma to follow me, and she was really in a, she's 10 years old, and she's normally very relaxed and, easygoing. But today it was a lot of smells. It's nice weather. The snow has just, disappeared here in Norway, so it's a lot of very interesting smells. So she wanted to move in a different direction. She wanted actually to run, so she started running in different directions. So I didn't want that. And what I do is I use either the attention sound, or I just whistle if she's further away and she can't hear the attention sound. Or sometimes I even just say her name. And then I turn around and walk the opposite direction. And this is important. The more you want your dog to follow you, to come back to you, the more important it is that you actually do this, that you walk the opposite direction. Maybe even run a little bit. So let me give you another example. You have a puppy or an adolescent dog. They're playing in your house, running around with something in their mouth. They got something that they're not supposed to have in their mouth because you left it there. So it's your fault in the first place, but now you want it back, right? So the higher the value of what's in your dog's mouth, I would say the more important it is that you get your dog back to you and get the object that your dog is carrying, not running away with it, not chewing it or destroying it. So it's very easy for us to start chasing our own dog, to go, no, come on, come on, come on, your dog had your favorite shoe in his mouth and is running around in the living room or outside in your garden, and you start running after him. So next time, just stop, change the direction, like move the opposite way, let your dog chase you. And you can even go, hey, come on, look, I have something exciting, or do you want to play with me, The more fun it is to chase you, obviously your dog is going to come to you. So that's the first mistake, that we actually start running towards our dog instead of from our dog, the opposite direction. They're very different topics here, by the way. It's not consistently like training methods or anything. It's just a bunch of everything. 10 common mistakes. Things I wish I knew before I got my first dog. So number 2 would be choosing the wrong kind of puppy course or activity. Because we can do a lot of mistakes that kind of stays with the dog for a long time. And you and your dog gets in trouble later when your dog is adolescent or adult because of the things we were doing as a puppy. It's a very important period of their life when they're a puppy, and what they learn, how they learn it, and their experiences they get. So a lot of things start going wrong, I have to say, I'm sorry to say, during a puppy course. And we were actually discussing it on the last Zoom meeting we had in the calming signals specialist course with Turid, for example, on a dog course. And they still do this. And they did it when I did puppy classes with my own puppies in the early ages of 2000, so 20 years ago. Typically, to teach the dog to walk nice on leash, you had to pass other dogs very, very tight in a very small space with not enough room for the dog to show their calming signals and to communicate using their body language. So in fact, we are already there making the foundation for having a perfect reactive dog later on, unfortunately. So be careful where you go to do your activities with your puppy, whether it's a course or an activity. Maybe you shouldn't even do a course. Maybe you should have private lessons with a good dog trainer, and then you do social walks and other activities with other dogs. You don't have to, I know this, it's a bit provocative for a lot of people maybe, but you don't have to go to a puppy course. You don't have to. You can do it in different ways. Like I said, you can have a dog trainer, private lessons with one other dog or just by yourself. And then you can do the other activities because they need socialization, which is number 3 on my list. No socialization, or the lack of socialization, or I would say, in my experience working with dogs for many years now, the wrong kind of socialization. So going to a dog park and let your dog off leash with dogs you don't know is not necessarily good socialization for a dog. So sorry. I'm so sorry. So make sure that you learn what is good socialization for dogs and for your puppy, so you can do it the right way, so you don't get a dog with behavior problems or a dog that have like bully behavior towards other dogs or even a reactive dog later, because these things happens when we don't do it the right way. Number 4, no, is that number 4? Well, the next one is to be inconsistent when we train or teach our dogs something. So it could either be us, we are inconsistent in how we do things, or it could be within the family. So you all use different methods. And also when we experience a problem, we start looking for answers, obviously. And today, because of the internet, we're Googling. Googling is maybe some of the good things you do, but also some of the worst things we can do, because we get confused. We get confused because there's so many ways of doing something, some dog training. Many different methods. And a lot of new dog owners are not aware of the fact that dog training, is not just one thing. There are many different methods that we use in dog training. So you have to choose the right one for you and your dog. Okay? And you should use the same methods within the family so that your dog doesn't get confused. It's so easy to get confused, yourself and dogs. And this is the thing. A lot of people come to us, to dog trainers, and, you know, because there's been spent the last couple of years trying to solve a problem, and now they're all confused because they tried so many things, but they haven't been consistent in what they're doing, and or they've been doing it wrong. So next one is doing walks the wrong way. If you're new to Nordic dog trainer, this might be a bit surprising. Is it really possible to walk your dog the wrong way? And yes, it is. Walking our dogs is something that we do. It's probably one of the activities, or the activity, that we do the most together with our dog during the whole of dog's life. We typically walk our dogs a few times a day. So every day, every year. So it's thousands of dog walks. And we can do these walks in a way that this sounds like magic, and it is kind of like magic, but when you think about it, it does make sense. Because a lot of problem behavior is caused by dogs not getting what they need. They don't get their basic needs fulfilled, okay? And if you have a lack of your basic needs, it will show in some way. You will be stressed, or it will show in some way. And one of the basic needs is, well, a walk is covering a lot of basic needs, obviously. The need to go to the toilet, you know, but also other kind of needs. So the fact is that if we walk our dogs wrongly, we can actually get problem behavior. And also when we do consultations, when we work with problem behavior, this is one of the first things we teach the dog owners is to do the walks the right way for your dog. And already then you can see that there will be less problem behavior. Okay, next one on my list is not trusting our dogs to make good decisions. So we don't trust our dogs enough. And I actually learned a lot about this from Turid Rugaas. Because I too, you know, we are worried that they do something that is dangerous for them or for us, or that something we worry constantly. But dogs are perfectly able to make good decisions if we let them. If we let them. Number 7 is lack of choices. So this is one of the basic needs as well for dogs. And it's also a little bit about, not trusting our dogs. So we can give our dogs much more choices than we already think we do. I didn't know this before I started reading about it and studying dog training and dog behavior. I too thought I was doing the best for my dogs, but the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. So now I know that I didn't trust them enough. And still I have some trouble doing it sometimes. Yeah, it's difficult, I have to admit. But really, we need to trust them more. Number 8 is that we do not pick up behavior or behavior that is caused by pain or discomfort soon enough, which not only will most likely cause you more, higher veterinarian bills, or if you have to see a therapist, it's going to be more expensive for you because it's been going on for longer, so it takes longer to fix, or your dog is going to be more ill if he or she is ill. Sadly, I've been doing the mistakes myself because I didn't know enough about the dog's behavior and the dog's way of communicating. So that's a serious one, an important one, obviously. Number 9 is ignoring problem behavior and think and hope that they will just pass. Typically, when we have adolescent dogs that starts pulling the lead or barking or reacting when we meet other dogs on walks, this is not something that just disappears magically when they get adult. No, we can train it very easily. And the sooner you start training or changing the problem behavior, the sooner you do some actions to change the behavior, the better. Because the longer the dog is doing the behavior you don't want him to do, the more it will, actually print in his brain that this is okay. This is how we all function, humans and dogs. So if we do a certain behavior, the same behavior, and we do it a lot, we get really good at doing it, right? And the brain is actually making pathways in the brain. So the longer you let your dog, for example, be out in the garden chasing people that passes your garden, chasing the fence, barking and making a lot of crazy noise, the longer you keep your dog doing that and just hoping that it will disappear, or you're not consistent enough in training, the more this pathway will be very clear for the dog. So it will take you longer to train your dog not to do it, to stop the behavior. And it's a significant difference when your dog is getting adult as opposed to a young puppy. We can teach a young puppy things very quickly. And this is, again, this all comes down to the last couple of things I talked about, comes down to my 10th and most important common mistake, I think, is not learning about the calming signals and the way dogs use their body language and also their vocal language, barking, whining, so on, how they communicate. We think we know, but we don't. I'm sorry to tell you, you think you know, but you don't until you start studying it. The first thing you need to do is to read the book by Turid Rugaas on talking terms with dogs. She's a Norwegian dog trainer, and she's the first one who did a study on this and published it in the 1990s. So you need the basis for everything, I think, is to know how to communicate with them. And of course, to know what a dog is and what their basic needs are. When the dogs have their basic needs fulfilled, just like humans, we are more happy and less prone to having problem behavior or stress in our lives. Makes sense, right? So I was talking last week about stop doing all the obedience training and start doing other things instead, like making sure that your dog gets the proper things they need in their lives, the right kind of walks, good proper socialization with other dogs and so on, so that they can have a stress-free, happy life. A less stressed, more happy dog will have less problem behavior. They will be less frustrated. They will bark less, you know. They will pee inside your house less. It does make sense. That's the beauty of all this, I think. It does make a lot of sense. So that was my 10 common mistakes. I have one more though, because I just got an email in my inbox from a dog school. I'm not going to tell you what country or what dog school, but it was tips to how to train your puppy to be in the crate, even at nighttime with a closed door. And this I have to add to my list, because you will regret it when you learn why you should not have your dog in a crate. If you want to learn it, that is. If you choose to know about it. You can, of course, now I'm going to be a bit, yeah, maybe if you want to, you know, not listen to me anymore, that's fine. I'm just going to tell you what I seriously mean. If you are not open to learning about it, that's on you, you know. But it's not fair to the dog if you don't know what you're doing. And you don't know what you're doing unless you learn more about the things that you are putting your dog through or doing with it, or training, or putting it in a crate, or whatever it is. So it's our responsibility as dog caretakers to have some knowledge. And the knowledge should first and foremost, according to me, myself and I, be to know how to communicate with them, to understand how they function, how what their needs are. Okay. And thank you to everyone who listened patiently on me babbling on. And I wish you a very nice evening wherever you are. Take care of yourself and your dog. Thank you very much. You can find more free resources on our website and our YouTube channel. And also, I will make sure that you all get informed about our free webinars and free workshops. Okay. Have a nice evening, everyone. Bye.